How to Liberate Yourself from Life and Death. Xiefeng. June 17, 2011. The subtlety of liberating oneself from life and death in the treasury of the true Dharma is that Buddha Sakyamuni had held a flower in his hand as he smiled in the Lifechanyuan mountain assembly. Only his first disciple, Mahakassapa, understood why and gave a faint smile. Buddha said, "I possess the true Dharma the marvelous mind of nirvana, the true form of the formless, and the subtle Dharma gate that does not rest on words or letters, but is a special understanding outside of the scriptures." Mahakassapa later explained his understanding directly to Ananda, who gave it to Shanavasa, and all the way to Bodhidharma, the 28th patriarch of Buddhism. When the 27th patriarch, Prajnatara, gave it along with a robe and begging bowl to Bodhidharma, he said, 60 years after I attain nirvana, I want you to take these 3 things from India to China and carry Buddhism forward to benefit all living people. Bodhidharma took Zen Buddhism to China and was regarded as the first Chinese Zen Buddhist patriarch. He eventually passed them to Haik, the 2nd patriarch, who passed them to Sengcan, the 3rd patriarch, then to Daoxin, the 4th patriarch, and to Hongren, the 5th patriarch. When Master Hongren told about them, he was met with some trouble because he found that the real successor should be the unknown handyman Huining in the monastery instead of the highly reputed and admirable Professor Master Shinshio. It would be very unconvincing to all if everything passed directly to Huining. In a desperate way, he said, the lives and deaths of mortals are matters of huge importance, but you only pursue the land of promise without seeking to be away from the bitter sea of life and death. If you lose your nature, then how can blessings bring you salvation? Both of you, write me a stanza. He who understands what the essence of mind is will be given the robe, the insignia of the patriarchate, and the Dharma, the ultimate teaching of the Zen school, and I shall make him the 6th patriarch. With a small trick, he finally gave his treasures to Master Huining. Master Huining was the 6th and final patriarch of Zen. The treasury of the true Dharma and the robe and begging bowl were lost after him. I used to joke that I am the 7th patriarch of Zen, and that I have written on Zen by the 7th patriarch of Zen 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which are the most heavily weighted 5 articles of all my writings. Now the question, as instructed in Buddha's treasury of the true Dharma this subtle Dharma gate, does not rest on words or letters but is a special message outside of the scriptures, becomes how to transfer from mind to mind. If I were to tell it with words, then I would be rebelling against the teachings of Buddha. So, if not expressing with words, how can we know how to liberate ourselves from the samsara of life and death? To make the best of both worlds, I can only slide over the water. Whether you can be liberated from life and death all depends on your level of practicing Tao, your destiny, and your root of wisdom. There is no life or death in life. The life and death seen by the world is an illusion. It is the evolved deduction of the carrier of life. Life has nothing to do with time, so life has no limitations of time and is beyond all ages. The nature of life is non-material structure. The form rendered by life is decided by its non-material structure. Its non-material structure decides the form rendered by it. Consciousness originates from structure, and in turn controls structure. Human consciousnesses make people, animal consciousnesses make animals, and if you develop your consciousness to that of a celestial being or a Buddha, then you will become a celestial being or a Buddha. Life is a cycle of reincarnations. The death we commonly see is not the death of life itself, but the phenomenon of life transformation. Life travels from one dimension into another, from one world into another, through the gate of life and death. When a life crosses that gate, from this field, we see it as death, but from the other field, it is life. All dharmas are marked with emptiness, they neither begin nor end, are neither immaculate nor defiled, and neither complete nor deficient. Therefore, in emptiness there are neither forms, feelings, perceptions, impulses, nor consciousness, neither eyes, ears, noses, tongues, bodies, or minds, neither sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touchables, or any sensations, and so on until we have form. There are no mind consciousness elements, no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, until we have form. There is no decay and death, no extinction of decay and death, no suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, no attainment and no non-attainment. Therefore, it is because of their non-attainmentness that bodhisattvas, through having relied on the perfection of wisdom, dwell without thought coverings. In the absence of thought coverings, they have not been made to tremble, have overcome what can upset, and in the end, have attained nirvana, to be free from life and death. When you are liberated from life and death, you can attain nirvana. If you understand the truth above, then you can be liberated from the samsara of life and death. The problem is that as mortals, we have fleshy eyes and mortal stalks. As we cannot see higher dimensional space and worlds, we are not fully convinced of the above truths. Then what? It is easy. Follow the guide and verify, step by step. What are those things that hinder us from liberating from the samsara of life and death? The answers are greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, and suspicion. Greed is the want to always possess more out of self-interest. Anger is to detest, blame, and envy. Ignorance is the belief that you are always right and never wrong. Arrogance is self-importance, pretentiousness, disdain, defiance, and the lack of a gracious, cherishing heart. Suspicion is being full of doubts and not facing the facts. It is hypocritical, false, and self-deceiving. Overcoming greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, and suspicion will enable you to understand this truth and will liberate you from the samsara of life and death. The reason is very simple and easy to do, but putting it into real practice is difficult. After being liberated from life and death, one also needs to understand where to go after death. If you are heading to the lower world, then you will be miserable.